Today, we're going to explore how those everyday hands you're using right now actually hold ancient esoteric keys to physical and spiritual healing. I mean, think about it. Those 10 fingers of yours, they're way more than just tools for typing on a keyboard or grabbing your morning coffee. They are literally profound instruments of universal power. So what if the secret to healing was hiding right there in the palm of your hand? It's a fascinating question, right? And it's one that ancient traditions have been asking for millennia. The sources we're digging into today go deep into the mysteries, the symbolism, and the sheer energetic power of human hands. See, ancient sages actually believed that our subtle energy bodies could be directly manipulated just by the physical positioning of our fingers. Go ahead and take a quick moment to just stare at your own hands right now. Just really look at them. According to esoteric traditions, they are basically a built-in control panel for your body and your soul. Throughout history, humanity has just never lost its total fascination with hands, recognizing them as this outward symbol of really deep inner psychological and energetic realities. There's this fantastic quote that says, "God's gift to man is the freedom of choice. The hands are naturally the instruments of that will and divine blessing." And I love that, because our hands really aren't just for mundane chores. On the physical plane, they symbolize divine presence, influence, and power. They're the literal instruments of human will, the tools we use to physically and energetically shape our destinies, build our realities, and interact with cosmic laws. Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. The magic in your hands. 2. Mudras and Kriyas defined. 3. Decoding the 5 fingers. 4. The ancient secret language. And finally, 5. Hand symbolism in healing. Section 1. The magic in your hands. We're going to kick things off by peeling back the onion on the very things you do with your hands every single day. Honestly, usually without even thinking about it. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Think about these common gestures: crossing your fingers for luck, giving a thumbs up for success, throwing up a V sign for victory, or just putting your hand over your heart. These are actually surviving fragments of ancient occult sign languages. The ancients fully believed these weren't just cultural habits, but physical actions that genuinely invoke specific energetic resonances. Moving on to Section 2, Mudras and Kriyas defined. Because if everyday gestures are a whisper, well, Mudras and Kriyas are an absolute shout. So a mudra is defined as a symbolic hand gesture or pose used as a key to personal development, spiritual unfoldment, and channeling cosmic energy. Basically, it's not just a physical stretch for your fingers. It's a highly specific pose that actually modifies, purifies, and empowers your auric energy structure. Think of a mudra like intentionally pressing a specific combination of buttons on that built-in control panel we talked about earlier. By forming these shapes, you're directing your conscious will to channel life force energy, or prana, laying the essential groundwork for deep physical and spiritual healing. And then we have Kriyas, which are gentle, spontaneous, pranic, energetic movements, often experienced during the gradual process of Kundalini awakening. This right here is where the healing happens. Kriyas are the natural, spontaneous, energetic movements that flow through you as a result. You use a mudra to balance your energy, and the body naturally responds with a Kriya. It could be gentle movements, a sudden rush of heat, or a deep internal energetic shift. It's literally the physical manifestation of deep healing and the awakening of dormant energy. All right, Section 3, Decoding the 5 fingers. Let's break down exactly how these elemental buttons on our control panel actually work. It all starts with a grand polarity. See, ancient sages observed that our left and right hands reflect the dualities of nature. The right hand is generally seen as electric, active, positive, and outgoing. It's the director of divine action. The left hand, on the flip side, is magnetic, passive, negative, and incoming. When you bring them together or pose them in specific ways, you are quite literally balancing the positive and negative energetic currents within your own body. Elemental assignments turn your 10 fingers into a literal map of the cosmos. For example, your thumb, or angutha, represents fire, willpower, and the universal soul. Your index finger is air, linked to the conscious mind. The middle finger is akasha, or space, representing a borderline state. The ring finger is earth, which grounds your emotions. And finally, the little finger is water, connected to the unconscious and libido. When you practice a mudra, you're intentionally combining these specific elements to create a highly targeted healing alchemy within yourself. And here is just a really fascinating historical application of this knowledge. The ring finger, which remember is associated with that grounding earth element, was known in antiquity as digitus medicus, or the physician's finger. Back in medieval times, apothecaries actually believed wounds would heal way quicker if they were stroked by this specific finger. In fact, they exclusively used it to mix their medical potions and healing ointments. Okay, on to section 4, the ancient secret language. Now that we know the elemental buttons, let's learn the secret codes that have been hiding in plain sight for centuries. Secret mystery schools transmitted this ancient sign language across the ages, carefully hiding energetic hand codes right inside global religious art. We're talking about things like the sign of preservation for protection, the sign of the heart for fidelity and emotion, the sign of benediction for blessing, the sign of distress for helplessness, and the sign of secrecy for silence. You can find these exact same hand signs in ancient Egyptian carvings, Renaissance Christian paintings, and Buddhist statues. They absolutely were not just artistic choices. They were deliberate mudras meant to convey esoteric knowledge and generate specific energetic frequencies. Take the sign of preservation, for example. It evokes spiritual forces to protect from negative psychic attacks. So when you see ancient Egyptian gods or Christian saints depicted with one hand raised up and the other placed over their heart, they aren't just posing for a dramatic portrait. They're actively projecting a mudra. This specific pose is designed to evoke spiritual forces that protect the practitioner and, honestly, anyone the sign is directed toward, from negative psychic energies. To really grasp the depth of this secret language, look at the Hand of the Mysteries. It essentially acts as a symbolic alchemical manual. In ancient initiatory schools, new students were handed a physical effigy of a hand totally covered in symbols, like a fish, fire, a lantern, a key. And again, this wasn't just a cool piece of art. It was a literal, step-by-step alchemical guide. By contemplating the symbols assigned to each finger and the palm, the initiate learned exactly how to transmute their base nature into divinity. Finally, Section 5, Hand Symbolism in Healing. Let's tie this whole thing together and see how these symbols, elements, and gestures actually awaken deep physical and emotional healing within you. True healing in this tradition is a sequential energetic process. Step 1. You balance the prana or life force in your left and right channels. Step 2. That prana flows evenly into the central Sushumna channel of your spine. Step 3. This centered piece creates the foundation to awaken your dormant Kundalini energy. Step 4. As this energy rises, you experience those gentle Kriyas, the spontaneous movements. And step 5, that energy reaches the crown chakra. The result? A profound state of spiritual realization and totally holistic healing. Now, the number 7 is absolutely vital here. 7 is the number of main chakras, or life force energy centers, that this awakened healing energy has to gently pierce through on its journey upward. Your hands, through the use of mudras, act kind of like tuning forks. They ensure this energy travels smoothly and harmoniously through all 7 of those centers. So the big takeaway here is this powerful healing equation. Mudras, which are your focused will, plus Kriyas, which is the flowing energy, equals total soul healing. Combining these deliberate, conscious hand gestures with the body's spontaneous, receptive, energetic movements unlocks ultimate inner transformation. It's like you're using the will of your hands to turn the key, and your body naturally responds by throwing the door to healing wide open. We've seen today that your hands are quite literally instruments of magic, elemental power, and free will. They are this ancient secret technology permanently attached to your own wrists. So, the question I want to leave you with today is this. Which subtle energies will you consciously channel with your hands today? Now that you know the hidden power resting right there in your palms, how are you going to use it to heal yourself and shape your world?